Hello, Julie from Technique Tuesday here, and in today's video I'm working with Sending Roses, the new Greenhouse Society stamp set, using Copic sketch markers. I've stamped my image using alcohol-safe ink on Bristol board, which I've been liking a lot as an all-round sort of paper. I'm starting on the leaves first using YG23, which is yellow-green 23, and I'll put down a flat covering layer on all the green areas. For this tiny spaces, I use the chisel end of the pen. Next is YG17 in the shadowy areas to add some dimension. Once I have my little touches of the darker color in, I'll go back in with the YG23 and do some very light and very brief blending. I try not to blend too much when I'm working in small spaces like these leaves, because the less you blend, the less likely it is that your color is going to bleed outside your lines. I'll keep going until I have something like this. I start in on the flowers with R35, which is red 35, and I cover the whole flower, trying to follow the contours of the petals. I do this because there's a chance the pen strokes will show up, and if they're moving in a direction that makes sense, it won't be as jarring. So on the leaves, I mostly brushed out from the base. In these petals, on the parts that are curled, I'll sweep from one side of the petal to the other, following the curve of the petal. Then for the parts that are flat, or flatter, I will brush up from the base. I'm not always successful in remembering this, but fortunately this is the first layer and will end up being mostly covered. Once the base color is in, I'll go in with R29 and start the shadow areas. Once I've got all these in, I'll use the R35 to blend the color out a little. The second color will smooth the cut borders of the R29, as well as add another level of intensity to the base color. So it'll be sort of an intermediate color between the R29 and the first layer of R35. You can use this middle layer to start the hints of highlights by not covering the areas to be highlighted. Now I'll use the Colorless blender to blend the edges of my colors out. The blender mostly moves the color around, since it's just alcohol with no color in it. It kind of thins the color and will spread it just a little bit. I'll use this effect to create my highlights by moving a bit of the red out of the way for the shine. I'll go back and forth a touch between the R35 and the blender until I'm happy with the highlights. Then I'll go in with Y21, which is yellow 21, and warm up those highlighted areas. Because this yellow is such a light color, it could be used by itself to add the highlights if you either didn't have the blender pen or just didn't want to use it. But I like the blender for softening the lines between colors without adding more color. I will go back and forth with colors a touch until I'm happy and have my finished project. Like this. I made a card out of the test run I did using a sentiment from the set. stamped onto pieces cut with the Essential Stitch Labels die, and some patterned paper in the background. I really enjoyed working on this project, and I hope you saw something you can use on your next coloring project. Thanks for watching, and have a great day!